Okay, this is Hideousy doing a replay analysis. Shen top versus Tryndamere in Silver 3. So we're going to be looking at examining lane pressure as a tank versus a carry. Particularly a carry like Tryndamere, who usually is going to be building towards becoming a split pushing machine. And how that works in lane, and then moving into the mid and late game. Armor gird. All right. So this is okay to do. I mean, it's not really a major mistake. Just showing yourself in lane like this. It's a little thing. But if you show yourself in the middle of the lane like this, then the enemy team knows that you're there, and they know you're not here. So if they were looking to invade red, you've just told them that at least you are not there. And so it's, you know, they might have, you know, even if they just wanted to get vision down, that's free for them to do. Okay, so in general, your best case scenario here is to focus on, you're just focusing on farming. Tryndamere is relatively abusable before he hits 6. So if you can do work to try to distract him from farming, sure. But mostly you want to just try to get the wave into a position where it is difficult for him to farm. And that is usually going to mean close to the turret. Or as close to the turret as possible, so that you are just last hitting, which it looks like that's what you're trying to do. For the most part, you can let some of those go even more, and live for a little bit longer. Yeah, see, just let that one, just let it live. Actually, I take that back. That was the right thing. You're trying to cull the herd. You want to keep a, yeah. So you were doing the right thing there. I was not looking at the big picture. So you want to try to keep it with about a 3 minion advantage in this position here. So you want to make sure that the enemy wave has a 2 to 3 minion advantage as often as at all times. And so Tryndamere has to be overextended if he wants to keep farming. Tryndamere is kind of like Nasus in that pretty much no matter what you do, he is eventually going to become a monster. His kit just eventually gets big, and and since he doesn't necessarily need to become a killing machine in order to be effective, he just needs to get to a point where he can reliably split push to be really effective. It's easy for him, you know, he can lose lane and still come out ahead. Oh, bummer. Okay, good. So that's good. So that's why, yeah, you want to freeze it here, because that will force him to be overextended 24/7 if he wants to keep farming. So you can just comfortably just sit here. See, again, don't be pushing, don't be pushing. Now you've created a situation where you have more minions than he does, and now the lane is going to push. You are not going to be able to push it to his turret before he gets back. It's so early in the game that even burning his teleport isn't a major advantage. You know, if the lane had been here or something, sure, but you had an opportunity to keep the lane frozen for at least a while longer. And instead you're creating a situation where you're going to leave the lane right about here. And that's going to be completely to his advantage. So you've frozen the lane for him. He can freely farm this. The turret doesn't take any of it. He lost 1 or 2 minions to your minions. So you didn't need to go back. You had health. You don't really need an item to be successful in this lane. Right now. Not yet, you don't. To freeze it and to just farm under your turret. He can't kill you. You're not going to be able to kill him pretty much regardless. So there's no point in trying to push it out or go back for an item so you can continue to be aggressive or something. You just keep it right here. You just out-farm him. You killed Tryndamere. You force him out of lane. So set the wave up. Set it to freeze. You just sit here and farm. Just farm, 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 farm. He comes back and he's 10 minions down. And that's how you win the lane versus this kind of guy. It's not through kills. You're not going to be able to kill him reliably unless he screws up. Especially once he gets his ult. So this is a good read, because that's a mistake by him. He should not have gone aggressive like that. So you taunt him and you punish him. That's fine. That's good. If he does that, then yeah, absolutely, punish him and kill him. But if he's playing smart, then you create yourself a significant more advantage by being here. Because then if he makes a mistake, you can taunt him under turret like you did last time. And tried to do once or twice. Instead of just taunting him in lane. Okay. So, I mean, again, the way that you win this lane is not through kills, but is through CS. And so you consistently want to be setting yourself up to be the most to have the most success or the most likely chance of out CSing him in lane. The way Tryndamere's kit works, he does not have a lot of trouble farming under turret, especially after he has an item or gets on a level or two. He's not going to have a lot of trouble doing that. And so shoving to his turret is of limited value because it puts you in danger of getting ganked. You can't kill him under his turret, especially when he's 6. So he doesn't, he's not in danger of you having any sort of kill pressure on him. He can make mistakes and not get punished for them. And he can sit here with this low of health. If he were over here with that low of health, that's a kill. Or at least you burn his ult. Since he's here, he can do it for free. He doesn't have to worry about it. So you want to be setting yourself up to freeze it here as much as is humanly possible. And that again informs your item purchasing decisions. Going Balmy Cinder here is probably not the best way to go versus Tryndamere because... Okay, that's... Yeah, don't do that. That's free turret hits. Again, he's got his ult. You can't kill him. Balmy Cinder is going to push the lane. So instead of going Balmy Cinder, grab the... whatever it's called. The armor component of Frozen Heart. Can't remember what it's called right now. But grab that. That will help you, reduce your damage versus him better than Balmy Cinder will. And it won't push the lane because of the AoE damage. So it accomplishes both things you want. Better defense versus Tryndamere. And reduces the amount that you're pushing the lane, which helps you freeze it, which puts him in a bad position to try to farm. So since Tryndamere is going to get big eventually, and going to be able to do his job eventually, no matter how badly he loses lane, your goal becomes not preventing him from doing his job, but from delaying the point at which he is able to do that job very well. And since you are Shen, you can't kill him, and so you need to try to out-farm him. And you out-farm him by controlling the wave effectively. So you're thinking through that by when you push, by when you go aggressive, by what items you buy. As it gets later, and you're able to push the wave more quickly, so when you do end up getting a Balmy Cinder and he recalls, then it's a good time to shove. Because now you have your ult, now you can look to start impacting the map, and now you want to start shoving. So this is fine now. You're shoving, you're going to push into the wave, you know his teleport is down, so you're going to cost him some CS. And that gives you the freedom then to look to impact another lane potentially with your ult. Or teleport when it comes up. So when you have pushed it like this, you don't have any wards or anything right now. But you can look to impact the map. If you don't need to go back, if you don't have a good item threshold, then you can look to get vision down in their jungle. You can look to just roam mid. And try to gank while it's shoved up to his turret anyway. You're looking for other things that you can do to impact the game on a map-wide scale. Because Tryndamere is going to be stuck in top lane. He's going to be stuck running up to try to get his farm back. And he's probably going to live in top lane for a lot of the game, regardless, if he's playing like most Tryndameres do. And so you can look not to try to play his game, because eventually he's going to get too good at it to stop consistently. He will have better wave clear and be able to 1v1 you, and you won't be able to stop him from doing his thing as he gets bigger. So your best bet is to not to try to beat him at his own game, because he's better at his own game. but to try to good. So that was good. You're baiting him into a gank. That's fine. That's good. But you're not trying to beat him in his own game in general, unless he's making mistakes or you have some other, some other knowledge like a gank coming up than he does. That's different. But as far as just 1v1 general laning goes, not trying to beat Tryndamere at Tryndamere's game. You're trying to play, you're trying to play League of Legends better than Tryndamere. You're looking to impact the map more than Tryndamere is able to. If you can delay his farm, you'll delay his split pushing ability. And so that gives you a chance to be, ulting Sivir, potentially, not in that situation, but you're looking for chances like that. Looking for chances to move in and get these kills. Move around the map. Shen has crazy map movement ability. So you want to look for chances to do that, because that's what Shen is good at, before Tryndamere gets to a point where he's so good at split pushing that his split pushing is more effective than your map movement. Okay, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Your farm is okay. It should be better. You should have hit 74 by 10 minutes, ideally. You should be at between 70 and 80 by 10 minutes instead of 12. So that's still something to be working on. You don't need to use teleport here. Thresh set it up nicely so it was right outside your turret range. You can walk back and get these. You don't lose any or hardly any farm by walking. You can hang on to your teleport cooldown. It's more valuable to have it than it is to get 1 or 2 CS. If the wave was still shoving and you were going to lose an entire wave, then maybe that's a better move. But since Thresh did a nice favor and set it up in right outside your turret range, teleport is kind of wasted there. Okay, good. So this is good right now. There's nothing else for you to be doing on the map. You push the turret down, but don't really look to do this. You're not going to win this. I mean, he can't kill you. Not really. Okay, so this Tryndamere is not very smart. So in this situation, he is not playing it very intelligently and burning things he doesn't need to be. So you going aggressive there ends up being a good play, but not because it's a good play in and of itself, more because he's not being very intelligent about how he responds to that. So yeah, now you're correctly recognizing that and punishing him because he's not playing very smart. In general, take the turret and then go do something more useful with your time. You want to have some wards right now. You wanted to have some wards coming back from base. Go ward up their jungle. Get some wards in this out. So now now not only did you take a turret, but you took a turret and have vision of their jungle, and that gives you a lot of ability to then pressure this, because this is down, so they have minion pressure here, so they have to respond to this and are dealing with this, and they can't flank you and move around through here when you're pressuring this turret because you're setting up vision in their jungle. So you ended up getting a kill on Tryndamere, and that's good. So, but you kind of went in on Tryndamere before he made that mistake. I guess he's kind of been making those mistakes the whole time, so maybe you're predicting that he's going to do that. But you went in counting on him to mess up to make that worth your time. And that's not usually the best way to go. Usually you want to be assuming that your opponent is going to make the right call. And so you want to be creating situations where even the right call is less than optimal. So you get the turret, maybe you taunt him and get a little damage on him, But then, you know, but maybe even not that. Maybe you just at that point then go get vision down in his jungle, because that's going to be helpful no matter what Tryndamere does. Good ult. Ahri left though. So yeah, that's probably all you were going to be able to get out of that. She was low mana and low health, so you saved her life, and that's good. Now you can go back and get some more pressure in this lane. Okay, so what I talked about earlier was not trying to outplay Tryndamere at his own game. And in general, that is definitely, that's what you want to be doing. Early on anyway, because you got yourself in a position where you can impact the map way before Tryndamere gets any good at split pushing. And so what that does not mean is not to say that you don't want to be split pushing at all. If you have an opportunity, go throw that here, not there, throw it here. You get so much more use out of that ward by throwing it here. You get, you know, Shen's strength is his map pressure, and not just his map pressure, but his ability to be, you know, to split push and pressure the top lane or whatever lane, while at the same time, you know, having two reliable abilities between his ult and teleport to be elsewhere at a moment's notice. And so, yeah, you want to be pressuring this lane. And since you were able to get an edge on Tryndamere, it's going to be a while before he's actually able to stop you, or you actually need to be afraid of him. It might be a long time now since you were able to establish an early edge on him. And again, that was partially through your good play, and partially because he made a lot of mistakes and a lot of bad decisions. If he had played the lane more intelligently, he would have come out even, probably at worst. And if he comes out even, then you aren't able to really punish him or keep him from doing his thing. So yeah, anyway, all that to say, split pushing here on your part is good. In general, ideally you want to be doing it when you are creating map pressure that your team can then take advantage of. So right now, that's essentially what's happening. You and Thresh have drawn two people up to the top lane. These people are not going to be able to kill you in all likelihood. Whether you're able to kill them, maybe not, because they have a lot of mobility. But even if they're able to get away, they're not able to kill you. So you've drawn two people up. Ideally, Thresh would probably be in another lane, because you can kind of manage this without him. You know, you can keep them busy. But again, you're not really looking for kills. You don't need to get kills for your split push and you to be effective, because what your goal is to draw attention and create pressure in this lane so that your team can take advantage of that in other lanes. So that Ahri can push freely in mid lane, because all she has to worry about is brand. Or so that Ahri can roam bot and her and Sivir can push bot, versus, you know, you create a numbers advantage for your team. Right now Lee is dead, so that's a little harder. But if you are ever just split pushing and you're the only interesting thing on the map, it's kind of a wasted split push, because the enemy team, all they have, you know, they look at the map and they're thinking, what do we do? Who do we need to deal with? What's the next logical thing for us to do? And if you're the only red flag on the minimap, then it's simple and you don't really gain very much. Whereas if you hold off and you're kind of dancing around so that they know you're there, and they know they can't just ignore you, but you're waiting until your team is in position to do something before you really put the amp up the pressure. You get a lot more out of your split pushing. And then with Shen, the unique thing about Shen is then once you've drawn attention up here, your team goes in. You know, for example, you push here and you draw Tryndamere up. And your team is bot lane, maybe, because Dragon is coming up in 60 seconds. And so they're looking, they're looking to pressure Dragon, and they're looking to pressure this turret. So let's just say that that's what's going on for the sake of argument. So you have your teleport up and you have your ult up. So you have 2 ways to get around the map. So you're pressuring this. As soon as Tryndamere comes up, you have 1. Because you can get to here, and he either has to just give up pressure in this lane and let a lot of CS die to minions, or if he chooses to follow you, since he has teleport too, your ult is better than teleport because it doesn't take as long, and because it gives a massive shield, so it has a lot of utility to it. So if you use it in a fight, if your team has initiated a fight, then that's better. Tryndamere doesn't have a way to interrupt either of those things, by the way. He doesn't have any hard CC. So you join the fight with your ult maybe, or with teleport if your ult doesn't make sense, but ideally with your ult, because then that leaves you an advantage, a teleport advantage. So you pressure, teams are posturing around Dragon. Your team has 4 maybe stacked up right here. Their team has 4 maybe stacked up right here. You're pressuring top. As soon as Tryndamere shows up, your team can go. Your team can pressure this. They can engage on the other team, or they can start Dragon, or whatever. That team fight can start, because then as soon as they start the fight, you have your ult. You join the fight with your ult, turn in a big way, because you give a shield to somebody, and you will come in with your taunt, so you have a lot of impact to that team fight. Tryndamere may follow with his teleport. If he chooses to, he's giving up CS on the top lane probably, or at least pressure, and maybe some turret damage. So he's giving up something to follow, where you are giving up nothing to follow. And then the fight goes down. Even if Tryndamere follows, there's a good chance that you've already tilted the fight in your favor because of your ult. But even if Tryndamere comes and it's an even fight, in this situation, Tryndamere is behind and your team is ahead, and so there's a good chance you win the fight, or at least come out. Maybe you don't win it completely, but you get an advantage out of it. And then you have teleport. You can just teleport right back to lane, or recall and heal up and teleport right back to lane and repeat the process. And Tryndamere doesn't have teleport anymore, or you can walk back to lane, and now you have teleport to do the next time that happens, and Tryndamere cannot follow at all. So you have the ability to get around the map much more often and consistently than Tryndamere does. And so when you create pressure, you're not looking to get kills. You're not even necessarily looking to get turrets, unless that's the option, unless that's what they give you. You win by just drawing attention up to this lane, and then by your ability to then join the fight that creates around the map, because your team then has a numbers advantage. So that's your mid-game strategy basically as Shen. You kind of abandon. Wow, this Tryndamere though. Okay, so again, you do the right thing, or you kind of made the wrong choice there, I think, but it works out because this Tryndamere is not very good at Tryndamere. Oh, you can kill him. I'm pretty sure you can kill him. He's low on mana. You can read that situation, especially since you have Thresh. Oh, see, you actually could have made use of Bard's ult there. You could have Zhonya's yourself, which would have taken turret aggro off you. That would have been kind of cheeky. Brand may have gotten away, but I'm not sure. He may have died too. But you could have used Bard's ult to Zhonya's yourself out of turret aggro. Okay, so Dragon is up. You're looking at the map. You're thinking Tryndamere has a little ways to go. So you've got maybe a few seconds, but you know where he is. You know that Bard was up here. So your team probably has a free Dragon here, and they don't even need you to get it for free. So you can just go right back to top lane. You don't need to teleport or anything, since Tryndamere has a ways to go before he gets to the turret. Tryndamere is getting to the point now where he's able to push the wave really fast, though. So you're going to need to start respecting his ability to take turrets more. And that doesn't even mean that you need to be there to stop him from taking turrets necessarily. That just means that you need to correctly gauge how fast he's going to be able to take a turret, so that you can correctly gauge where you need to be in response. If that's, in another lane, or to take an objective somewhere else, be that as it may. But don't underestimate his ability to take a turret in a very short amount of time. Well, you know, if your team is kind of posturing or stalling or something, you don't want to posture and stall versus a Tryndamere in general. Good. That was a good ult by you. This Thresh is doing really good work. So this turret is free. Sivir needs to stay with you. Why would you leave? She is so much of your pushing power. There's nothing in danger. Sivir! See, that's just... I know this is not your mistake, but that's massive. You guys won a team fight, and you can pressure a turret here. Without Sivir, this turret takes way longer to kill. Both because she has good wave clear, and because she's an ADC, so she burns down turrets really fast. With Sivir here, you guys easily take both of these turrets, I think. You might get them anyway, because their team isn't responding super well. But with Sivir here, I think you get both these turrets, or at least you put a lot of damage here. Yeah, if you win a team fight, unless you are dead, or they are knocking on your door, which they were not, there was no pressure, or no real pressure, on any of your objectives, and Sivir had most of her health and mana. Don't recall. That is such a waste of a one team fight. So you played that pretty well. But so that's just a general principle to keep in mind. That happens a lot, especially at lower elos. People think that winning a fight is a win. You know, their job is done. They won the fight. But you don't win League of Legends by winning fights. Dude, this Thresh might be a Mad Life Smurf. But yeah, you do not win League of Legends by winning team fights. You win League of Legends by getting objectives and killing the Nexus. And you get objectives and kill the Nexus more easily. You create situations where it is much easier for you to do that by winning fights. That's why you fight. That's why you get kill champions. Is to put yourself in a position where it is really easy for you to take those objectives. Where, you know, you have a numbers advantage, or they aren't there at all to stop you from taking them. Okay, good. You're teleporting top to stop Tryndamere from taking the turret. You don't need to be anywhere else right now. That's fine. Your team just want to fight, and so you want to minimize the amount that they can, you know, do to mitigate that. So if Tryndamere was to take this turret, yeah, they lost the fight, but at least they got a turret. So you did a good job of making sure that he wasn't able to do that. I would seriously consider getting distortion boots on Shen to maximize your ability to move around the map. It reduces teleport's cooldown by a lot. Okay, so yeah, right now you're looking at the map. Tryndamere's down here. He's alone. He's going to be a while before he's able to threaten anything. At least 30 seconds before he's able to really pressure a turret. Your team has pressure here. Sivir, I don't know what Sivir's doing. She should not be here. This is a mistake. But it looks like Ari's coming to join. So you guys have pressure in this wave. This turret is almost dead. So yeah, right now you want to be pressuring this lane. Actually, ideally, you would be pressuring this lane, but because you had to teleport to stop this turret from going down, that's fine. But this is where, in you know, all other things being equal, this is where you'd want to be. Dragon is down, so Baron is up, and so this is where the enemy team is more likely to be focusing their attention, and so that's why you want to have your pressure on the opposite side of wherever the enemy team is likely to be focusing their attention. So that to get to you, to deal with you, they have to leave the higher value area of the map. With fewer numbers defending it. But because of what the specific circumstances of this is where you're at, and that's okay. But yeah, you want to be pressuring so that your team can pressure this lane, and Bard isn't just able to go here for free. You know, somebody has to come stop you, and so that gives your team the ability to take that for free. Oh boy. Don't do this. Dude, Ari is right there. Ah, never do that. Even if you are 100% dead, always maximize the amount of time that it takes for them to kill you, because at the very least that is time that they can't spend pushing the lane. Oh boy. Okay, so that was mostly, I think, a problem of target prioritization. Tryndamere is behind. He's not coming into this fight and wrecking faces. He doesn't have the damage and items to do that yet. Graves is significantly more ahead, and Brand is kind of a monster right now. So you want to lock down Brand, if at all possible. Use your taunt to lock him down so he can't cast spells. That is your highest value target. You get the most return on your investment of your Shadow Dash by locking down Brand. Tryndamere is... both because Tryndamere is behind and because Tryndamere takes significantly longer to kill. So you only want to focus Tryndamere if you have to. If you don't have to, then it's like focusing a tank in a way, because he takes forever to kill. And so if you're using resources to kill Tryndamere, he takes forever to kill, and that entire time you're trying to kill him, the rest of his team is wrecking you. Okay, I'm going to speed up a little bit. Tryndamere is pressuring, so you go up to respond. Your ult is back up. You guys get another free dragon, so that's good. Shove this. I don't know if you were typing there or what, but be careful about that. Every second counts. You can see this happening, so you're prepping to hit your ult. Ult, ult, ult. Nope. I think I also would have prioritized Thornmail, maybe over Warmogs. Get Warmogs after Thornmail, just to really shut. Tryndamere won't be able to do anything to you, and since Graves is one of the people on the team doing well, so I would have gone maybe Thornmail over Randuin's, honestly. Get Randuin's eventually, but get Thornmail instead of Randuin's, and then get like Spirit Visage, because Brand is really the one you need to be worrying about, and Zach is doing pretty good work too. Whenever you're looking at your build, you want to look at who's doing well on the enemy team. Brand is big, so you need to get Magic Resist. Graves is doing well, and they have a Tryndamere, so a Thornmail is going to do a lot of work for you. In that team fight, you should have ulted in way sooner. If you had ulted in and gotten Thresh, Ahri was right there, Lee was coming up. I didn't see exactly where Sivir was, but they were all out of position, and if you had ulted in sooner, I think you guys would have won that fight way more cleanly. And been able to take a lot more off the back of it. Okay, so you did a pretty good job there of prioritizing the correct targets. You were in the back keeping Shen or Graves and Brand busy. That's good. Are they going to surrender here? That's kind of what it looks like to me. Okay. Okay. So overall, you played this game pretty well. You weren't looking to try to force plays in top lane. You did that well. You were focusing on farming primarily, although your farm still needs some work. You could have come out of lane phase with a little bit more gold and more farm. You were punishing Tryndamere's mistakes. The only thing that maybe is to just, again, look to do a little bit stronger is to just be looking to impact the map as opposed to just your lane. Got to get your focus off the map and off the lane and onto the map. You pressure to create a situation where they have to respond to you, and then you're immediately looking to impact somewhere else. You're trying to time your split pushing so that when you are creating pressure is a time when the enemy team has to make the best situation of the best of a bad situation. They have to go respond to you, even though they would really like to be able to respond to your team, or vice versa. Make sure that you are upgrading your yellow trinket. Oh man, I take it all back. This is a terrible performance. You made horrible foundational errors. No, I'm just kidding. But man, by level 16, that sucker should have been updated a long time ago. Get that sucker updated. As a split pushing champion, especially, that is so important for you to be able to be warding your flanks as you split push, so that you know when that pressure, because you're trying to draw pressure, and if you don't know when that pressure is coming, your team you can't make those decisions. You can't make the decision that you should back off. You can't make the decision that it's just one person so you can keep going. Your team can't make the decision that they know that you've drawn attention up here so they can continue pushing bot. You gotta have vision, both to avoid getting murdered and to be able to make those decisions as soon as possible, rather than waiting until the enemy is like in the lane with you. You can make that decision so much sooner with a vision, with warding in the jungle. So get that yellow trinket, get a pink ward, or the yellow trinket upgraded, get a pink ward, get that vision down on the map. It is so critical. Other than that, yeah, your team did well, and so this isn't a game where you had to really work super hard to carry in the late game. You were able to ult into fights that were already going in your favor for the most part. The one exception was this fight in mid lane where you didn't ult in nearly soon enough. I think if you had ulted in on Thresh, that would have been a fight that would have been completely in your favor as well. So as Shen, especially Shen, Shen's forte is map presence. So you want to be split pushing and creating pressure, but you are always looking at the map. There is never a situation where you are tunneling on this lane. This lane is not where you win. You win by creating pressure and then popping up somewhere else. That's Shen's forte. So you can maximize that with distortion boots and by just map awareness, good vision, and looking to win the game by pressuring objectives in as many different places as possible at once. Okay, thanks for letting me take a look at this game, giving me an opportunity to do an analysis. I really appreciate it, and I hope it helps. Best of luck.